You know what time it is. It's time to hang out with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop. From Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper. Hang with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. With Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop. From Mr. Cooper. From Mr. Cooper. Yeah.
Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Big shout outs to everyone that's listening on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, wherever you're listening to. Big shout outs to you. If you want to catch the video version of this show, make sure you go to my website to catch full episodes at thebigscoopwithcoop.com. Also on YouTube at youtube.com/thebigscoopwithcoop. You can also catch a 15-minute preview of this episode right here on Instagram at Big Scoop with Coop. All right, people, enough about me. Today's guest, if you are a fan of Tyler Perry's The Oval, you're going to love this show. Now, you've seen her husband Sam on the show. Now I'm bringing her on, that's right, Priscilla Owens, a.k.a. her real name is Taja V. Simpson. Now, Taja's done a lot of things in this industry. She is a director. She is an actor. And outside of the industry, she's a book author. She also have Taj Hair Growth Tonic and Oil. We will talk about all of that. So we're going to sit back, relax, kick it with Taja. We're going to see what's going on. We're going to talk about her career. We will talk to her about The Oval. We're going to also talk to Priscilla also. We got a few words for her also. And we're going to talk about a little bit more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of The Big Scoop with Coop with Taja V. Simpson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I watched some of your episodes and I was like, he's fun. Let's do it.
You know it. You know it. How's your day going so far?
It's going good. It's rainy and dreary over here in sunny LA. But other than that, just living life. My baby just got up from his nap. My husband's taking care of him. And so after this, I'm going to the gym. So it's just a regular good old day in LA.
You and me both. Trust me. Yeah. You and me both. I'm in North Carolina, so the weather doesn't know what it wants to do. Does it want to be sunny in the 70s or does it want to be cold in the winter? I wish he'll make up his mind. And I hope it picks summer because I'm ready for spring and summer. I know,
aren't we all?
Yes, yes. Now, Taja, like I said before, you've done big things. You've done great things in your career. You're nowhere close to the climax of your career. That means there's more great things coming for you. I want to give you your shout outs right now for everything that you have done and what you're preparing to do. But Taja, for the people that just getting introduced to you for the first time, that's been living under a rock, when did you first realize that you wanted to get into the television and movie industry?
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. Honestly, I did not know I wanted to do that until I graduated college and tried my hand at it, to be honest. It was always like this little birdie. I like to call it a little birdie on my shoulder, being like, hey, you should try this. You should try this. So I graduated with a degree in broadcast journalism with an emphasis in mass communication. From there, I was like, you know what? Let me just try and see. And so I moved to Houston, Texas. I ended up signing up for this like casting director workshop. And his name was Gary Chason. So he was a really popular casting director in Houston, Texas at the time. So he did these big workshops. And so I took his workshop. And in the end, he had a big showcase where you had to put up a scene. We did a scene from Sex Lies and Videotape. I didn't know who Steven Soderbergh was. I'd never seen the movie. I just was like, okay. And he invited a bunch of industry people there. And so in the end, I ended up not only getting an agent, but then also winning 3 different awards. I won an award for Best Actress, Best Scene, and People's Choice. And I was like, oh, okay. Maybe you're right, little birdie. I should have been listening to you all along, you know? And then from there, I auditioned for a short film and I booked the lead in it. And then it was the worst thing. The movie was great, but watching it at the screening was like, oh my God, I'm horrible. Oh my God, this is disgusting. Oh my God. Like I couldn't watch myself, you know, I was just like, oh God, this is the worst. But I did great. But at the end of the day, it was a new experience to see myself on screen like that. And that's how I kind of got into it. From then on, I was bit by the bug. I did another class of his. It was like a code reading class right before I moved to LA. Now, I always wanted to move to LA. I just didn't know it was going to be for acting. When I was 7, we came to Disneyland and I was like, this is the best place on earth. Oh my God, I want to move here. And so, true story. And so there was always like this feeling of like, man, LA is beautiful. I want to go there, So I came back, before and was like, yeah, this is it. And so once I decided to pursue acting, it was like perfect. It was the place I wanted to be, and it was now the thing I wanted to do. And then a snail's pace later, years later, here we are.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Now, Taja, I tell people all the time, whenever they get a feel or a love for something, even at an early
Hmm.
age, there's a reason why it's in you. The little
Oh,
birdie,
truly.
you fed the bird food, and look what happened. Now
Yeah.
you're juggling all in the oval everywhere, trying to control everything that's going on. That's what you're doing right now.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying, Taja. I tell everybody, and I will say it again, ladies and gentlemen that's watching worldwide right now, if you feel like you have an itch for something, scratch it. That means go for it. I don't care if you want to
Yeah.
be a plumber, a teacher, or an actor. It doesn't matter. You go for
Hmm.
it. And trust me, if you stick to it, you might get it. Trust me, you
Yeah.
might get it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, Taja, what type of hurdles did you go through from the beginning of your career to where you are today?
Obstacles. I think, you know what? There's so many things I could talk about, but I think I'll keep it on me. My biggest obstacle was me, right?
Mm,
Um, it was my lack of confidence in myself, my lack of understanding of the business, I allowed the different terminology that people would say, like you have to have a household name, you got to be a star name, you're not big enough for this, like all these different things that people would say just in regular everyday vernacular. That was just industry jargon, right? But I took that on and I believed that. Oh, I'm not gonna get cast for that. I'm not big enough for that. Oh, I'm not. I don't know if I have enough credits for that. Oh, I don't know. Are they really gonna cast a dark skinned girl for that? Like it would always be something, And then I remember when Straight Outta Compton came out, the casting directors who ended up putting out the breakdowns ended up getting in trouble, and there was this whole thing because they were doing the verbiage that they just felt so comfortable to put out into the world about light skin, dark skin, and all kind of stuff. Like this was regular, everyday things. And so once I learned years later the power of the I am statement, I was able to work my way past that and started to manifest, start to really speak into myself and really believe in myself. So there were a lot of challenges, sure, but I think had I been in a space mentally where I was strong enough to take it on, where I fully understood my power, where I truly felt like I was worthy and believed in myself, had I started to know and have the tools back when I was in my 20s that I have now, had I been equipped, it wouldn't have affected me as much as it did. It wouldn't have taken my career as long as it did to take off. My career took off when I started to really fully pour into me, be the best version of me, and work on my self love. That is when I started to get successful.
wow.
Yeah.
Now, Taja, and I tell people this too, even though, the affirmations, those are the things that you need to do in your life to
Yeah.
help it create. Now, also, though, you know this also, and correct me if I'm wrong, Taja, in this industry, 1,000 no's can equal one yes. You got to have
Hmm.
thick skin when you're in this
Hmm.
industry because
Totally.
a lot of people try to come in and after one or two no's, they're somewhere boohooing in the corner and they're missing their
Right.
next door that's opening up. And I
Right.
know you've seen people go through that. You've probably been through it yourself. And it's, you got to have thick skin and you got to speak it for yourself to say, hey, I'm
Hmm.
going to accomplish this. And you did it.
Exactly.
And look exactly
Amen.
what happened. Yes. Now,
Yep.
Taja,
Yep.
did you have any mentors to help you out?
Mm, not really. No. Not industry related mentors. I mean, I think I would consider my mother a mentor.
Yeah, in
In
general.
that, yeah, yeah, no, I know what you mean. I was just my brain. I was thinking like more industry related. Yeah, I would just say my mom. My mom always like she would always pour into me, and she would always tell us, everything that you could do anything, and really pour into us with all her different mama sayings, if you will. And so I just had to when I got back to the point where I fully understood the power of those words and words have power and death and life is in the power of the tongue and really understood the meaning fully of that verse in the word that it made me really understand it, right? So my mentors as I started to evolve and grow in that self-love journey are people that I've never met, are like Abraham Hicks or like Louise Hay or like people like that I would listen to daily, Joe Dispenza, Oprah, or different people that I would just listen to all the time. So now I just had to pump my mind with nothing but positive things. I changed my verbiage, I changed my vernacular, I changed how I ate, I changed what I listened to, I changed all these things. I had to work hard to change my subconscious mind that would ultimately end up changing my carnal mind. So because you change your mind, you change your life. That's what I believe, and that's what happened to me, right? And so, and by doing so, it changed me for the positive way. But I had to be really self-aware of the things that I said, the things that I spoke, the things that because words have power. I didn't realize that I was speaking death over my life, if you will, life and death. You know what I mean? I wasn't speaking in a positive way over me. I was saying the total opposite. And most people don't realize that. But it's when you take a moment and fully um, be aware and cognizant of what you're saying, that's when you can really see the power of those words that you're saying over yourself and then work to change it. Now, that's where the work comes in. That is work.
Yes. Yes.
That's the work that people have to do that most people run from, but you have to do the work because the reward is so much greater on the other end when you do that work on yourself.
Now, Taja, do you feel that people feel like that's their hardest step, is changing their lifestyle and changing the way they speak to get to where they at? Do you feel like that's what's going on with a lot of people, not even just in this industry, but just in general?
Oh, absolutely. Accountability is big, right? Most people, and I know men always say this about women, how women can never be accountable, you know. I didn't say that. Yeah, you did. Play the tape, you know. Women always want men to be accountable, but it's hard for them to be accountable. I'm accountable, okay, Coop? I'm accountable. But yes, I do believe that. I think it's really hard for people to put a mirror up to themselves and really see them for who they are so that they can make those changes. I used to say this all the time, but that's just who I am, right? Well, I've been like this for so long, I can't see myself changing. Well, that's just what I feel. It ain't gonna change. It ain't gonna be no different. Well, I don't see how that, like, I used to say these things. Well, you're right. You're not gonna see it because you just said you won't. You're right. You're gonna always be that way because that's just who you are. You're not doing anything to put forth the work to make you the best version of you. But the best version of you feels so much better than the part that you're holding on to. And so here's what I had to learn. If you fight for your limitations, you will win. So the people that are fighting for this, no, well, that's just who I am, but that's just where I'm at, well, that's just, so you are limited in your thinking. I'm gonna let you live. I'm not gonna argue with you about where you want to stay because that's not where I am. So if you fight for your limitations, you will win, and I will allow that to happen. I'm not gonna debate you anymore. I've done that, right? But we're not gonna debate. There's another saying that I say. I'll be like, "Yo, bosses talk to bosses." When I'm dealing in my businesses and stuff, bosses talk to bosses. So if you aren't on the level of where I am, bosses talk to bosses. I gotta move on. I gotta move.
Get on my level.
Hey, you know what I mean? Like once you see it's crazy. The moment I started to make those changes, then I could really hear how other people speak. Yep. Like it shines so bright. I'm like, oh, I used to think that. Oh, I used to say that. Wow, I used to do that same thing. Like, wow, like all of it used to. But then it also makes you more keenly aware of like your growth. Because you get to see that and recognize that that's where you used to be, but that's not where you are, right?
Ooh,
You're never too old to grow. So look, I have too many models, but that's my motto. I'm always learning. I'm always growing for sure.
Ladies and gentlemen watching worldwide right now, I hope you're taking these words and that Taja is saying right now, hey, if you want to grow, do it. Knowledge is the key, and also speaking it is the key. If you want to be on that boss level, get yourself on that boss level. Say you're on that boss level and make yourself get to that boss level. And trust me, you can look at a lot of people totally different than what you used to look at them before. You definitely are. Now, Taja, also in this industry, you're not just an actress. Now, you're a director. A lot of people don't know that. Now, which one is harder, wearing that director hat or wearing that actress hat? Which one is harder?
Definitely, yeah, harder, I would say. Good question. People always ask which one I like better. And I'm like, it's so hard to choose. But the harder one is definitely going to be directing for sure. Because as the actor, you show up on set or stage, whatever have you, and this is your job. Your job is to know these lines, be this character. You got one job. But as a director, you're the captain of this ship. So you are in charge of everything. Everything has to work the way to your liking, how you want it to be as you command your ship for every department, for every look, for every character, for everything. So directing is definitely harder, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm telling you, Taja, I'm telling people worldwide, I'm spilling the beans about you, and I'm about to do it again right now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you think she's just an actress, and you think she's just a director. Let me tell you something else Taja has done that she probably haven't announced to a lot of people. She's also an author. She has a book that's out. Let's talk about this book right quick. Whew, boy, how we gonna do this? Cracking your acting code. Cracking the acting code, excuse me. How did this book come about? And what made you decide to write this?
Yeah, so cracking the acting code is like the preface to my now platform, which is the Working Actors Academy. So a friend of mine and I, we both were in these spaces separately, like, man, we want to write a book about how to get started in acting. And then randomly we just started talking about it, and that's how that one was born. But for me, that journey to get to that part was people would just ask me all the time, like, hey, how do you get started? How do you do this? Like, oh my God, what do I need to do? Or they send me things like, hey, is this a scam? Or hey, what is this? Should I pay this money? No, you should not pay money to audition. No. Like, but these are valid questions because if you don't know, you don't know. And so I found myself on the phone with a lot of different people or emailing back with my sister, brother, cousin, uncle, friend, like whomever that could get to me, right? Trying to help them and things like that. And to the point where I created like an email with, here's all the things you need to know. Here are all the links. This is what you need to do. Um, and so I was sending it to people. I'm like, hey, go through this. And if you have any questions, let me know. Or when you're done, hit me back. And they'd be like, okay. And so during that journey, when my celebrity and star started to rise, they started to see me on TV a whole lot more. Then it was like, okay, I should just go ahead and do the book because I get inundated in my Facebook or Instagram with questions about this kind of stuff. So let me find a way to answer it because clearly there's a need for it. The book came out. It did pretty well. It did okay, but it was a book, and so people don't like to read. It's unfortunate that people were just. I'm like, it's in the book. I would give the book away for free and be like, call me when you're done. And I'd never hear from people again. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. But they just want you to tell them everything versus them actually doing the work. And I'm like, well, you're never going to make it if you're not able to do the work. This industry, you have to have thick skin, like you said earlier. You have to be in a space where you can not only mentally take that on, but physically take that on. All that rejection, all that no, you have to know how to bounce back from that. The book is going to help you with that. So from there, that's when I end up birthing the Working Actors Academy. It's an online platform. It's self-paced. You can go at your own leisure, but it's not just telling you how to get into it. It's helping you understanding your type, knowing who you are. It's also motivating. It's like you can finish it in 2 or 3 days, but it's just one of those things that I feel like the industry really needs. And when people go through it, they're like, wow, that I have my friends that are like, I wish I had this when I got started. I'm like, I know. I poured my heart and soul into it for them. So yeah, that was my first book, and then my second one was Women Who Shine, and that was an international best-selling book. So she's an international best-selling author. We're gonna just put that out there. Yeah, she's excited about that.
Check a resume, people. Check a resume.
Yeah, so that one did really big. That was a part of a bigger system though. So it was a book of like 30 different stories with different women telling their like how stories about their lives, how they were overcome certain things, and mine was colorism. And so when I finally, it was so just gratifying to get this out. It was so healing. It was like this story I think I'd been living and ashamed of for so long to the point where I was like, I thought I was gonna write about something totally different, and God was like, this, I need you to write about this. And I was completely not ready in the moment. Like, that's what we doing? You want to talk about this? You want all my business in the street. Oh, I didn't know you was ready for me to release it. Okay. So so I wrote it, and it became this huge thing, and it ended up being the forward in the book, and it was like amazing. So it was something I needed to do for a very long time. So I was really proud of myself that I was able to like overcome my shame of it, overcome everything that came along with it that helped me down, and was able to be free and like release it. So yeah, those are the two books that I've authored.
Wow, Taja, tell everybody how they can get these both of these books.
Yes, they both are available on Amazon. You just type my name in and it'll come up. Both of them will come up.
Ladies and gentlemen worldwide, make sure you go to Amazon, get both of these books. Not right now. You're watching this interview. After the interview, hit up Amazon, get some for yourself, your family, your friends, your cousins, even your haters. They got birthdays also. Get them all the books. You know what to do, people. Make sure you blow those books up. Get them while you can. Make sure you get them. Now, one more thing I want to talk about before we get into the big subject. Another thing a lot of people don't know about, and I wish I would have known about this before, because you see I'm kind of bald, right? And I don't have no hair. So there's something that's out. It's called Taj Hair Growth Tonic and Oil. Yeah. Tell how everybody you ran into that.
Yeah. So when the beautiful thing about working a lot in this industry is that you're working a lot. I think the downside for women, well, men too, is, I guess, I don't know, for women is that there's a lot of heat products and heat tools that are used on your hair. And over time, especially with our hair type, it your hair will break. Like it just starts to shed, it starts to break off. So I lost a lot of my edges during that process. And I was like, I tried different over the counter things. I tried all this stuff. Nothing was working. And so I just kind of got into this headspace of like, okay, I have to figure this out. Food is your medicine. God has equipped us with everything on this world that we need to overcome any and everything. So let me do a deep dive. So I did, and I learned about Ayurvedic um, herbs and stuff, and then created my own formulation. And the efficacy of it is amazing. And I called it like Photonic. I didn't even have a name. I just was like, okay, let me try it. And it grew all my hair back, my edges, all the things. So no matter how my hair is in a protective style, a wig, or braids, a cornrow, like whatever it is, I'm always using it because you want to keep your hair protected. You want your hair to still grow back and be healthy. Um, but I still work a lot, which is great. Like like when I have interviews, I try to schedule a couple of them. I may have to go to work. I have to do whatever. And so to save my hair, I'm like Samuel L. Jackson. I got a wig maker, like I got somebody who gonna help me create a look for this character so that I can save my hair. Because when you're working on a project for weeks or months, every day they're curling your hair, they're straightening your hair, they're putting the product in every day, and your hair just can't take that. And a lot of men and women, especially in the industry, the hair just started breaking and shedding, and then you're adding hair, you're doing enhancements, you're doing all these things, but when you take all of that off, you still don't have hair.
Right.
So that was the journey that kind of led me to it. From there, I shared it with all my family and friends, and then I was like, I should do something with this, and that's where Taj Hair Growth came about when I was thinking about the name, because Taj means crown. My
Ooh.
name is Taja. So Taj, crown, right? And then funny story, my husband, when I met him, he suffered with really bad alopecia in the back of his head. It was like a really big, like silver dollar spot, bald spot in the back of his head. And I was like, hey, yo, this could go good or bad. I don't know. But as we're dating, I'm like, so what's going on like in the back of your head? I have this hair stuff that I created. I don't know. Maybe you want to try it and see if it works. And so he was like, yeah, I'm willing to try it. But I didn't know if that was going to be like, if that was really sensitive for him. Like, I didn't know.
Right.
And so he tried it. And in 6 months, all his hair grew back. And he was like, okay, so what you doing with this? And so my friends laughed. They're like, you was the one because you didn't take his hair out. You brought his hair back. Amen. Turn to your neighbor, say, bring it back. Bring it back. So, yeah. So,
Tasha, your husband said, okay, you brought my hair back. I'm marrying you. You ain't
I'm
going
marrying
nowhere.
you is the one. You is the
Yep.
one for me. So yeah, so then it was like a slow process of us getting it together, all that stuff. And we had the efficacy tested, we got distribution. Well, they wanted us to do it, but we ended up not really going through that. I just was like, I'd rather do direct to consumer versus direct to business. It's just more money that way, to be honest, if you're talking business. So yeah, so then Taj was born. Taj was also available on Amazon. We are one of the newer products there on Amazon. And but that's my baby. Like I love it. So the thing I love about both of my brands, whether it's the Working Actors Academy, TWAA, or Taj Hair Growth, is that both of these were birthed out of passion and love to help others.
Yes.
So that's my, I hate to keep saying motto, but that's my thing. Like, how can I be of service? Like, how can I help? Like, and this is how I can help.
Well, you helped everybody. You helped them from their hair to their reading. Ladies and
Hmm.
gentlemen, get the book, get the hair growth, get the oil. If you got trouble with your
Yeah.
hair, do it. It's all natural. Come on, people. You go on
There
the
you go.
stop putting all that perm and all this other stuff in your head that's breaking it or whatever. Get the natural hair growth. You know what to do, people. Now, Taja, oh my
Hmm.
goodness. You got the White House running wild right now. People
Hmm.
trying to figure out what in the world, who you are, your real identity,
Right.
and everything. Let's talk about it. Season 6 of The Oval. Now, how does it feel from season 1 to season 6 when you first received this role as Priscilla? How,
Hmm.
how, how was it for you? How excited were you to get this role at first?
Yeah, I mean, at first I was really excited. It was the thing that I've been manifesting, which is a series regular role. I'd been like, yo, I'm about to be a series regular. For a year straight, that's all I said to my friends, like, and anybody. I was like, well, I'm about to be a series regular. So everything was the conversation didn't even have to be about that. And I'd be like, well, I'm about to be a series regular. Like, act as if and speak life over your life. So that's what I was doing. So when I got the call from Tyler Perry about it, I was like, okay, yeah. And initially I auditioned, actually, most people don't know this. I auditioned initially for the First Lady. That's the role that Tyler Perry was courting me for. But he ended up booking Ed, and he was like, "You don't look old enough to play Ed's wife. Y'all don't look like y'all went to school together. Y'all don't look like it just doesn't work." And I was like, so he's like, "But I got another role for you." And I'm like, "Okay." I'd never read Priscilla. I didn't know who she was. I'd only been reading for the First Lady for like a year, like or two, I should say, because I'd known that we wanted to do this show for a long time. And then I signed on as Priscilla, went down. He had a big chemistry read and stuff. And I still did my chemistry read with Ed, but it didn't go, I can't say it didn't go well. It was more like an ad lib type thing just because they didn't give me, I never got the scene. They didn't send me the scene that they were going to do. And I was like, well, what's the scene? They're like, you didn't get this scene? I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, well, it's just about this. Let me just see you guys interact together. So it wasn't even like, so he and I just kind of like did some stuff, which was interesting that the things I was saying was on the page and I had no idea. I had never seen it. And so we did this scene and Tyler was like, I just think you look too young. And I was just like, okay, fair enough. Hey, I got years to grow to look older. It's fine. And so a lot of people don't know that story though. So that's an exclusive for you.
I love it. I'm learning. I'm learning right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I got Priscilla, I met Walter at that day. They brought me in to read for Priscilla. It was a car scene from season 1. And I smelled perfume on him or whatnot. And we're driving home. And so we have 2 chairs together. And that's the scene we did together. We didn't get a chance to run it or anything. It was just like, okay, you're Priscilla. And I like, Walter, you go, Sam, okay, we're gonna have y'all run. So I went back there to where he was in the room. It was like this big, huge room, and actors were just kind of spread out, like everybody trying to learn their lines. They just moving us around. Okay, you read for this, you read for that. So you're like, what's the scene? What's the side? Which happens, So I go over there like, hey, he's like, no, we'll be cool. And I'm like, okay. So I went and got somebody else like, hey, can you just read this scene with me? Because I've never read this scene. I didn't even know anything about Priscilla. And so we go in the scene, we go in the room, we do it. And as I walk out, Mark Swinton is sitting there. And this is when I knew I was going to be Priscilla because he's sitting there. And as we were walking out of the room, he said, yeah, you really are a chameleon. You could do anything. And it was the best compliment. But I was like, damn, you like me as Priscilla. Okay. I was like, all right. But the whole time, Tyler and I had been talking about this show he was going to do. I was going to be the First Lady and all these things. But, casting happens and life happens. 2 years had gone by. Things had shifted. Things had changed. It is what it is. And so then I get the scripts and I'm like, who is Priscilla? So I'm like reading about Priscilla. And so I met Karen there too, because it was only she and I reading for the First Lady. The one who plays Victoria.
Right.
Yeah. And so she booked, so they bring us, it was all over after the whole big, chemistry read, and they're moving everybody around to see who they want to play what. They bring us all in this big room, and Tyler Perry walks in and he goes, welcome to the Oval. And everybody's like, what? Who am I? So, yeah, so a lot of people didn't know because they were just playing musical chairs with everyone. They were like, okay, I guess you should know. Okay, so this is your First Lady and your president over here. And it was Karen and Ed sitting over there together. This is such and such. And he was like, I already knew I was Priscilla because before I left, my team was like, you not going out there without a signed contract, honey. So let's sign as Priscilla. And if something changes, great. But if not, you still going to be Priscilla. And so I was like, okay. So he was like, this is Priscilla and Sam. And everybody's like, hey, this is Nancy and Richard. Everybody's like, that's literally how we all met, which is unique in itself because we shoot a whole season so fast. So it was interesting. Everyone who was in that season was there almost, like all the main players was there, right? Mm-hmm. Not like your day players and things like that, but it was like such a big room of so many different actors. But yeah, that's how I got it. I was excited about it. And then when I walked away from that experience, I was like, you know what? Okay, this is the role God didn't have that other role for me. This is the role he had for me. And I was like, you know what? No problem. I'm going to work this role and I'm going to be the best damn person on this show. Like that's how I speak to myself. Like my background is and as an athlete, I used to like, yo, you got to get in there. You got to get it. You got to bring your A game. You got to be number one. Yep. You got to bring your best. Like that's how I talk to myself, Yep. And so as I'm pumping me up, I'm like, cool. All right. Okay. All right. Cool. So I'm like, I love it. I go home and I learn it all and we go and shoot. And now 6 seasons later, I'm like the fan favorite, which is Priscilla Owens, which I'm really grateful for because I put a lot of work into her.
Now, Taja, I want you to step away for a second because I have a question for Priscilla. I want to bring Priscilla on for 1 minute.
Okay.
All right. Now, Priscilla, I was watching you the other night. Um, I had your husband Sam on the show a few seasons ago, right?
I am aware.
Okay, okay. Now, I have a question for you, and I think the whole world wants to know this. And you're juggling, like I said, you're juggling not just regular balls, you're juggling bowling balls. You're trying to make sure nobody don't know your identity. You're trying to take care of the president that's finally walking again. You got to deal with my boy Sam, and you got to deal with your friend at the same time that's going through a whole drought. How are you actually juggling all of this and trying to keep your sanity? And let me throw in this also, you look like you're having a little bit of fun with this at the same time when you're doing it. How are you doing this and not dropping any balls at all?
Oh, great question. I'll say this. My life is in disarray. My life is in a way that I've never seen it before, never dreamt of it ever being. And with it being as such, there's no way I can let the ball drop. It enhances how I approach everything else. And my approach to everything, it has to be done in decency and in order. It has to be done appropriately. I've trained for this. I'm CIA. People don't really know that in the White House. So in all of that, my training has to then show up. I can't then allow my personal life to take over. Now, there are moments that Sam pushes me for sure.
Yeah, he do. He do.
For sure. But I have to work in a way to where I can keep my calm, keep my cool, and make sure that I'm handling everything that's being thrown at me because it's a lot with this administration. I've never had to deal with anything like this before from any other presidency, but this one. This one tests me for sure. I think I handle it pretty good.
Yeah, yes, you did. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know what else Priscilla's going to do, you better tune in on Tuesdays, 9 o'clock on BET, The Oval. Make sure you catch up with her because this woman right here that you're looking at right now, I don't know what she's going to do next. Is she going to cook some hot grits and throw it on Sam? Is Sam going to really keep the house? She told Sam, you don't have a house. But Sam looking at her like, hey, but you know what? Priscilla, I'm watching you. The world is watching you. Continue to do what you do. All right, Priscilla, I need you to step away because you're supposed to left your friend's house and go to the Oval anyway. So I need to talk back to Taja. All right.
Here I am.
All right. Now, Taja, are there any other projects that you're working on that you want the world to know about?
Yeah, so there are a couple. So the next thing most recent thing I've been on outside of the TV show is Found, which is another show on NBC. You also can watch it on Peacock. I'm in episode 9 of that. So it's a really great show. And then the next film that I'll be in is Medea's Destination Wedding. So I'll be reprising my role as Deborah. The first thing I ever did in the Tyler Perry world is Boo 2, a Medea's Halloween. I played Deborah, which was like Brian's ex-wife. The role that Tyler Perry plays, I'm his ex-wife, and we have a daughter. Mm-hmm. And so in this particular movie, our daughter just recently met somebody, and now she's about to go get married in the Bahamas. And it's like, what? So this is all the players. So this is going to be a really fun movie, because there's Bam, there's Joe, there's Medea, there's Cora. There's all the Medea players, in that. So this is one of those funny movies that, you just go, it's lighthearted, have a good time. That's going to be on Netflix. We don't have a release date yet, but that's coming up. And I would say the next thing that I've been working on is I also have a production company. It's called Simpson and McGowan Studios. It's the last names of myself and my best friend. And so we have an app that we are getting ready to launch. It's called Frame, Frame. It's like Netflix and TikTok had a baby, if you will. So it's a place where you can stream all of your content. We really made this in a mindset for creators because as a creator, you oftentimes don't have a place to really put your stuff, to showcase it, and to make money from it. You can put some stuff up, but you want to make money from it, right? So it's a place where you can stream it, and it's a place where you can go for social activities like social media. You can put up your reels, we call them frames. You can do all that kind of stuff too, and there's a music element as well. So Spotify, Netflix, TikTok all had a baby. It's called Frame, and it's a place where creators can go and upload their music, upload their movies or TV shows, or just go and be social, but you can also monetize it and start making money. So Frame, be on the lookout for that.
I love it. I love it. Everybody, make sure you be on the lookout for this. This is something I'm going to be watching myself. So make sure you jump on it. If you got any type of talent, you're doing anything, watch out for Frame because you want to be framed in the frame. Make sure you
Come on.
That's what
Come
I'm
on, you
talking
see, y'all
about.
see what he did there. You see what he
Yep.
did there.
They didn't catch it. They didn't catch it,
They didn't
Taja.
catch it.
They didn't catch it. They sure didn't. Now, Taja, what is the best way for everybody to follow you on social media so they can keep up with the latest and greatest?
Yeah, so the platform I'm mainly on, honestly, is Instagram, but across all platforms, I'm everywhere is at Taja V Simpson. So TajaVSimpson across all social channels is at Taja V Simpson.
That's what I'm talking about. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen,
Mhm.
worldwide, make sure you follow Tasha on social media. You want to keep up with the latest and greatest what she's doing. Make sure you follow her so you don't miss out on one thing that this woman is doing. Make sure you do it.
Yes.
Now, Tasha, it's the last segment of the show. It's called Take the
hmm
Floor. You have up to 2 minutes to
Take
say
the
whatever you
floor.
want. No questions asked. Taja Simpson, take the floor.
Oh my gosh. I feel like there needs to be like a little music transition that's like, take the floor. I don't know, whatever. Uh, it's my 2 minutes. I can say whatever I want. Okay. Gosh, what do I want to say? I think I will just say believe in yourself, believe in who you are, believe in your talent and your ability because there's no one else that's going to believe in you like you. The confidence that you have in you should exude to a point where it makes people want to follow you, buy from you, allow you to influence them. I recently just watched this interview with Sterling K. Brown, and he said something that was just so great that will always stick with me. And he talked about the confidence of an actor and the confidence of being in the room. And it reminded me of this. You know, when you go to, like, let's say a car dealership, and if the salesman is so on it and this and that, he makes you feel so good and comfortable because he's so confident in what he's doing, what he's selling you. You're buying the car, but it's really because of him. But then you have another salesman who's not really as confident in this. He may actually be a better person than this other guy, but you don't really know because he hasn't really sold you on it. That's your job as an actor, and that's your job as a human as you're going through this world. You have to be confident in whatever it is you're doing, whatever you're selling, whatever you put your best foot forward in, whatever you're doing. Be confident so where people can then buy the products that you want to sell, people can believe in who you are, and they can stand on your word. Be a person of integrity, be honest, allow that to shine through, and that's what will make people want to not only follow you, believe in you, be influenced by you, buy from you, all these different things. But all of that comes with belief is so powerful. Belief. So believe in yourself, work on yourself, do your mirror work is when you look into the mirror and you tell yourself I love you, and any other affirmation that you need to do. You do that for at least a minute or two. Should be longer, but to start doing that, start pouring into yourself, start working on you to be the best version of you, and that will then catapult you to any and everything that you've ever dreamt or imagined. But it all starts with self-love.
Whew. I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, make sure you follow her on social media. Take that tough love. You got to do affirmation, talk to yourself. Make sure you boost yourself up. And also make sure you follow Priscilla season 6 of the Oval Tuesday night, 9 o'clock. Don't forget, get framed. Make sure you want to get framed.
Yeah,
Get framed. Watch out for it.
right.
It's coming soon. Taja, I want to thank you for coming on the show. And I would love to have you back on in the future.
Absolutely. No problem. We'll
That's what I'm
set it up.
talking about. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest on the Big Scoop with Coop is, you know I don't announce my next guest. You better follow me on social media to keep up with the latest and greatest to find out who's going to be on next. Until the next time, people, on the Big Scoop with Coop. Peace.